What's something super weird about you that human design just totally explained? I'll go first. This is my body graph. If you don't know what yours looks like, you can generate one on my website totally for free. The link is also in the bio. Now, this is my undefined throat. My entire life, I was always doing impressions, and I was really, really good at them. The more unique and exotic the impression was, the better I was at it, and the better it felt when I did it. Now, this miraculous ability to do impression was coupled with this not really knowing when it was appropriate to do the impression. I often felt this like, should I speak now? Is it okay to make a joke? Should I speak now? What am I supposed to say? Are people gonna think I'm weird for saying that? And I always thought it was just social anxiety. But when I learned about human design and I learned about this undefined throat, a whole lot changed for me. See, the thing about having an undefined throat is that I'm not always going to know when it's my time to talk. The nature of this undefined throat is to experience the world by way of the world, meaning that it's sampling things from the external world, aka all those impressions that I was really good at. But there's no consistent Marco's voice. So when it comes to Marco's voice, it's just this Frankenstein. And I always thought that the Frankenstein was like there was something wrong with me. But once I learned about human design, I realized like that's the most beautiful part about me, or one of the most beautiful parts about me. Now, the more I learned about this undefined throat, the more I learned about these gates here, the more I realized that, okay, there is kind of like an undercurrent of my voice, and it has to do with these gates, and it's wild how accurate it was. This is gate 35, the gate of progress. I love talking about progress, or how I used to be one way and now I am another. One of the favorite quotes that I ever heard from another human being was, if you're not disgusted by who you were a year ago, you're not growing fast enough. Gate 35, all about that. Then we have gate 45 over here, the gatherer. This is like the last voice on manifestation. And I've always seen myself as someone that ought to be an arbiter when it comes to what gets designated where. I feel like I just have a better view and a better handle on who needs what and who is pretending to need what. Which now I realize that doesn't just come from nowhere. It's a gate activation. And it's also in my south node. Meaning that's something that I used to do in a past life, if you will, or that's a direction that I'm coming from. Another one is this 31 right here, which is influence, which is essentially when people ask me questions, when I'm elected as the one who's supposed to speak, everything I say has this kind of like influencing feature about it. But I have to be elected. People have to ask me questions. And the last one is this 62, which is the voice of details, which, as I explained in another video, details is super important to me. Now, it doesn't necessarily matter how I get to those details, because I'm willing to be wrong. Up here, this third line right there, I'm supposed to be wrong about stuff. Or rather, if I'm afraid of being wrong, life is gonna move at a snail's pace, rather than if I embrace failure and embrace that third line up there, life can move at a more natural pace. But back to what I was saying, this undefined throat used to cause me so much grief as a young man growing up, because there was so much importance placed on like saying the right thing at the right time. And I didn't necessarily know that for myself, but I could definitely tell when other people were talking out of turn, or when people were just talking out their ass. So this undefined throat actually helps me stay away from people that are doing that are manifesting their not self, that are manifesting out of a space of anger or frustration or bitterness or disappointment. And it helps me find the people that are actually like saying the things that they're truly experiencing, rather than saying the things that everybody wants to hear. And I, of course, know that because I spent a lot of my life saying things that people wanted to hear, rather than saying what's actually going on. I hope you found that insightful. If you also have an undefined throat, let me know in the comments along with any questions you may have. Now, if you want help decoding your body graph, you can either book a session with me, or I recommend getting one of my reports. They're super affordable. They're just there on my website. Generate your body graph and you'll see the option to buy them. They will very likely save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, like trying to find yourself. Because again, it's just all here. Link for that is in my bio or at ReikiMarco.com. Embrace your weirdness. Peace.